first item is approval of the agenda. Anybody got any comments? Should be a quick one. Any additions? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Next item, approval of the February 20th minutes. Hope you each had an opportunity to look at that before you came. Any additions or corrections? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. And at this time, we'll swear in our new member, Brandon Walker.
And swear in Tom and Chris as well.
Okay.
We did, okay.
Make sure we still remember our constitution.
Yeah, we'll re-swear them. Do you have a preference to what's the name? Okay. Sit this here. So you will raise your left hand and raise your right hand. Okay, I'll go real slow so you can repeat after. I, Brandon Walker,
I, Brandon Walker,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain
that I will support and maintain
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States,
of the United States,
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the state of North Carolina,
of the state of North Carolina,
and the town of Blowing Rock,
and the town of Plum Rock,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties to which
the duties to which
I have been entrusted
I have been entrusted
as a member of the town of Blowing Rock
as a member of the town of Plum Rock
Planning Board.
Planning.
Thank you. All right, I'll have you sign this. You have a pen? Okay, you'll sign and then we'll just keep it to show we swear in there. Okay, next, I'm just gonna do which one I have on top, so Chris. I'll do the same, so left hand and raise your right hand. I, Chris Squires,
I, Chris Myers,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain
that I will support and maintain
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the state of North Carolina,
of the state of North Carolina,
and the town of Blowing Rock, not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties to which I have been entrusted
the duties to which I have been entrusted
as a member of the town of Blowing Rock Planning Board.
as a member of the town of Plum Rock Planning Board.
Thank you, same with you, if you don't care to sign. Thank you. All right. Sorry.
We don't swear.
Yes. I, Tom Beard,
I, Tom Bear,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain
that I will support and maintain
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States,
of the United States,
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the state of North Carolina,
of the state of North Carolina,
and the town of Blowing Rock,
the town of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties to which I have been entrusted
the duties to which I have been entrusted
as a member of the town of Blowing Rock Planning Board.
as a member of the town of Plum Rock Planning Board.
All right, you will sign, and then we'll all be on record.
Okay. Next item, selection of chair and vice chair. So we'll take the chairman first. And just on a note, I'm not in. I'm a firm believer in term limits, so my limit is done. It's somebody else's turn. So at this time, we'll take nominations from the floor for chair.
Well, I'll nominate Chris Squires.
Are there any other nominations? Hearing none.
Don't you need a second for that?
I second.
Lindsay. All in favor of Chris for chair? Aye. And at this time, I'll turn the gavel over to Chris and he'll do the vice chair.
So do we have, again, accepting Bill, do we have nominations for vice chair?
Billy, you willing to be vice chair?
I think he was.
You want that?
Yeah. So someone other than Bill and me.
I'm happy to serve if I can help.
So will somebody nominate Tom?
I nominate Tom Barrett.
Okay, I'll second that.
Vice chair.
All right, all in favor?
All right.
All right. There you go, Tom. All right. So our jam-packed agenda. Kevin, do you have any items for us?
No, I just left a little block if anybody wants to have a general discussion about anything.
Do you expect we're going to have items on the agenda next month?
I don't know. It's possible.
Okay.
It's possible that the Holiday Inn, Hampton Inn project may be coming forward at that time, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
I do have a question, Kevin. Is in a lot of times I hear from people in the public about things that are going to be presented in you may have. Because I don't normally have any idea of what's being proposed or has come to the planning board and zoning board to be eventually on the agenda. Is there some kind of way we can get whenever a developer comes in and is thinking about a project, or it got to the point where they were asking questions of the planning board, of the planning staff, that we could at least be notified of what's maybe coming down the pike?
If it's an application, like for the Hampton Inn, I notified you that it's coming a couple weeks ago. And some rules about discussing that project. Anything else, a lot of times, they've asked me not to speak because it's not public.
Okay.
And they would rather us not. And they, to do that, they will not leave a set of plans. They will not email. They just talk about it. And so I honor that.
Right.
And I think I should. But if there's an application that we've received, it's public information, and I certainly would share that with you.
Okay.
But there's not been anything that I know of that is public information that I need to share with you at this point.
Okay.
There was an application for the 7-acre piece of property made back last summer. That is still ongoing. They have just not brought back any revised plans yet.
So right now, it's public information. The big ones are the 7-acre and the new hotel are the only two that's on the schedule to probably become before the board.
Yeah, that's the only two that we've received applications for. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. You think that'll go April? Okay, a rezoning request. This is the first rezoning in probably 15 years, straight rezoning
Right.
off of, Shop Road. Where the town shop is, and there's a house built over there. He's wanting to make a request. He has the application in, correct? To a section of that property from R15 to Horse Show grounds, because he abuts a horse show, and he would like to have that so he can have access to the horse show and ultimately build a barn for horses, and so he can access that. Currently, he cannot in R15.
Thank you.
Kevin, a question, is there any update on the condo project off Laurel that was converted from the hotel to
Right. It was approved.
But is there anything, movement on that, or?
They may be looking at going a different direction, I can tell you
I
that.
was wondering, it seemed like it stalled.
They got approval, I think the second approval, because it was gonna be townhomes and hotel and then townhomes. And they're just kind of thinking that one through. And I urged them to get it right this time, you know, make sure this is the one you wanna do. So, I don't have any, I just started talking to a new architect, that's all.
Kevin, how long is that approval good for before they have to start again?
From approval date, it's good for 2 years.
And when did the council approve that? Roughly?
December.
Was it,
3 months ago.
December,
okay.
maybe. It was after Ruley. So December, January.
Speaking of early, do you know if he's ready for that?
He's trying to get his final building plans put together. So two years, and then if within that 2 years, he starts construction or he applies for a building permit, that gives him another set of vested rights that would be at least for 6 months until he starts construction, and then it's good for another year once they start. But as long as they continue to go, then that year keeps moving out.
And while we're talking about recent approvals, do you have an update on the shops at Morris Lane? Did they start? Did they get a building permit yet?
That's what she was
Oh,
just
I'm
asking
sorry.
about.
I didn't hear you.
David Ruley's project, no building permit yet. They're working on plans, finalizing those. His architect made contact with us this week.
Do we have any options to clean up the Laurel lot? Is there any way while they're trying to refigure this again? I mean, it looks pretty rough, in my opinion. I don't know if anybody else
That's why
agrees.
I asked. It's
This came
bad.
up yesterday.
Yeah.
Depending on what you may want them to do. I mean, there's rebar in the ground for piers. If it's trashy, absolutely, we'll get them to clean up any trash or debris that's over there. We can do that.
The fences, I mean, I haven't been by there in a while, but I mean, the fences look like they're falling down.
Okay,
They haven't been-
we can certainly
It just
address
looks
that.
Messy. I mean, they can almost plant grass at this point,
Yeah.
in my opinion. So,
Well, we wouldn't want them to plant grass if they're gonna, if it's not erosive, then we're not gonna make them plant grass, but we certainly can, make sure the fence is straight, it looks nice and neat and orderly. In fact, I can do that, I can email that before I leave here tonight.
just say please.
I won't even have to say please.
You don't even have to say please.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
I'll say, I've got someone, on my back about this, you need to clean this up.
Okay.
Kevin, I have one more question too on maybe a procedure of what the planning board should or shouldn't know or has to know. When we approved one of the projects, I personally asked about the financing, if they could post a bond or something to make sure that the financing would be available to complete the project. I'm talking about the Green Park Inn. At that time, one of the owners got up and just said, no, I don't have any financing. We got to get approval before we can go to the bank and so forth. But yet we approved it. And then I sat and listened to the parks on the Parkway project there. And one of the owners got up and said, well, I don't approve that. I would hope y'all don't approve this because they don't even have financing yet. Which kind of shocked me because we were just told on their project that they didn't have finance and we approved it. And then he turns around, the same guy says, well, they don't have finance and y'all shouldn't approve it until they get financing, you know? So it's been bugging me because I'm a financial guy. When a project comes in, that we have no idea when we approve it, whether they'll even have the financing in place or not in place, or have any kind of commitment at all, that it won't be just left there for the city to be a project's kind of like we're talking about on those condos where the land is just torn up and waiting for for nothing to be built yet. They haven't even, they may not even go with it, but they've already done some construction to be there, you know?
We've got kind of two questions there. The first one is we cannot require them that they show any financing, that they could get approval and sell it. There's no, we have no control over who the owner is or if they have money or not. They could be broke, but if they, what we're approving is the use of the land, not who does it. The other question is more about maintenance of a site that maybe is under disrepair or they're in the limbo stages of finalizing plans and things like that. And we have some control, as I mentioned, on keeping that clean and neat and orderly. And we can certainly flex some muscle there. At the end of a project, and I mentioned this a little bit in a subcommittee yesterday, is if whether it be a subdivision or a new condo project or a new retail building or whatever it might be, and if they want to open up in the middle of the winter and they're not able to pave the parking lot or plant trees, and this happened on the Embers, in fact, they have to post a bond or letter of credit or some other surety that they have money to complete those items. Usually 125% of that, whether it be a bond or cash or letter of credit from the bank. And then they can go ahead and get a CO, occupy and utilize the building, and then come back when the timing is right to finish that. The subdivision street would be similar. You know, maybe they have it gravelled. The final plat cannot be recorded until everything's done, or they've posted a bond to cover what's remaining. And there might be some public things like the street or maybe a part of the sewer that's not complete. So that bond will cover someone's going to finish it. And then that allows them to record the plat and sell lots and utilize the property.
So until they actually get a request for a recording of the property, the city really doesn't have anything other than trying to use a muscle to keep it clean.
Yeah, we can make sure that the property is always kept in good appearance. You know, after a winter here, and if there's been no attention to a property, even a nice property, it can get beat up. Day like today, it can do a lot of things with the wind that we get. So it's our responsibility to, especially to respond to complaints or comments, to make sure the place looks good, clean.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I had.
Okay.
I just keep worrying
this is
about
great.
money
I
for
mean, when we don't have
developers,
anything
that's all.
pressing, it's nice to, you know, there may be questions that might help us. And then we, at the end of April, I've got everybody signed up. I think I sent you an email if you've asked to be on that School of Government workshop over at the High Country Council of Government. So we're good there.
While we're talking about project updates, going farther back in time, the brewery at Edmiston 321.
Yeah.
I know they started clearing the site, stopped. Have you had any idea of their status?
Nothing productive. No productive conversations. And I have not investigated the status of the permit, but that'll be something that I'll look into tomorrow. And
I want to add one more. On the corner of Sunset and Valley Boulevard, the place where they were going to build the World Wine Store.
yeah, Brian knows more about that.
Okay.
We had a pre-construction with them last week, I believe, and they're getting ready to mobilize and put the building.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Got a backhoe sitting out there, so something will happen. Track it. This is a great time to add. I mean, everybody likes to know what's going on. That's good.
If a GC has a suspended license for 90 days, can they still do?
John Warren, you know the answer to that one? We happen to have our building inspector, John Warren, here.
John, if a GC has their license suspended for 30 days or pulled for 90 days, I think is the last one I saw, what happens to any ongoing projects?
It would stop, you get the stop work order. There has to be a general contractor listed for a project.
Okay, so if they are supposed to have their license suspended for 90 days, but you see them doing work, is there a fine that they pay to be able to continue doing that work?
No, you just stop work,
Uh-huh.
they continue to work, then you fine them or you have them arrested. The licensing board has more leverage than we do.
Gotcha.
So Representative, if we complain to the licensing board and got them involved, they would come and they're a lot more heavy-handed, and they have the authority because they hold the license. So all that licensing is separate general statutes as far as permitting.
Right.
The permitting states if there's no general contractor, valid general contractor listed on the project, then you issue a stop work order. RIDE would issue a stop work order.
Gotcha.
Good one.
It's been educational.
Let's go.
Well, I'm just nosy.
All right. Any other general discussion or old business?
I will say, go ahead.
Out of curiosity, since you mentioned that hotel, it's a different process. It's special use.
Yes.
Quasi judicial. Most of these projects we see are conditional district rezonings.
Yeah.
What do you think, why do you think the conditional district is so much more popular than special use?
Did you ask me this yesterday? So I hope my answer is not any different. I think, I'll go back a little bit. In 2014, the town adopted conditional zoning. It took a few years for us to have the comfort level, but it's all over the state now. And conditional use permits that we used to have are all called special use permits to just, so the language is distinct between the two.
Was conditional zoning, it wasn't the same as conditional district rezoning though.
Yes. So there was conditional use districts.
Yeah.
That, we didn't have that.
Okay.
We didn't have conditional use districts. Some towns did, so that it meant you could rezone a property. It was a multi-step. Rezone a property to conditional use district. Come back and get a conditional use permit. That's a cumbersome process. And so the state said, we're gonna have two. Conditional zoning, which is a rezoning with conditions, which is legislative, policy decision. And then we'll have special use permits that'll be quasi judicial. If I were an applicant and I felt like I can meet the letter of the ordinance, I could hit that target and I wouldn't have any issues, and it's pretty, maybe we're building one building with a parking lot, I probably would go special use because I know I've got the criteria to meet and not public comment. I gotta meet the criteria. If I've got a complicated project that I want maybe some concessions or some flexibility, or I wanna add some conditions to restrict or amplify what I wanna do, and maybe have some negotiation with the municipality. So I might go that way. I may have some things that are weird about my project that I was like, I think I'll go conditional zoning, understanding that it's not a guarantee that you'll get approval. So the choice is up to the applicant. I don't sway them one way or another. I give them, this is kind of the lay of the land, and this is, you get an opportunity to choose which path you want to take.
Good job.
Yeah.
That's great.
I will say this, as far as activity, last year we were at $42 million of construction costs. That was an all-time record. And through 2 months, we were at $8 million in construction value through January and February. That's a pretty good rate. So if you keep that going, we'll be well over that. But I don't know. It all plays out this summer.
Is that permits or COs?
That's permit applications. So for how many single-family homes? 16, 17, which is kind of back to the rolling average we had back in the early 2000s. It was running about 16, 17 new homes. So we're back at that number. And anytime you have commercial, you know, that goes up quite a bit. But we're expecting if projects get approved and they submit a building permit application, that's the time when that permit is counted.
How many of those are in the town and how many of those are ETJ?
The majority are in town. I mean, there's not much activity out in ETJ. A couple of houses, we just had an application up off Green Hill, but it's probably 2 or 3% of the overall. And that value is not factored into tax value because those homes are not taxed in town.
That subdivision on Green Hill never materialized, come to think about it.
They're starting,
Really?
a new owner,
Okay.
some, a group out of Winston-Salem bought the property and they're actually started footers on a house. So it's still not recorded as 6 lots. It's still 2.
Huh.
And so they started a house in the back under the previous owner. And then the one up out on the front is gonna be on one of the lots, but it still currently exists as 2. Once they grade the road and pave it and finish it, then they can record the plat for the 6 lots that they wanna do. I think it was approved for 8, and with the septic system, only 6 can be approved. Really good lots, really good view, and then the land lays great. And you just pay county taxes, that's pretty good.
All right, we had an item on the agenda for committee reports, but I don't think this group has any standing subcommittees. So, is there some other thought of that, or just?
I think that was just the standard agenda.
Just want
That,
to make sure you didn't have something.
no, I didn't put anything in addition. I think Taylor just just put out the standard agenda if there was a report.
Sounds good. So any other items anyone has? All right.
For the first time in several years, we got a full board, 9. It's a little crowded up here.
That was because we're initiating a lot of good men into
Yeah.
our board, or good board members.
That's right.
Sorry about that.
That's right.
No offense down there.
Right, none taken.
I probably should have just shut up.
Motion to adjourn?
All good.
I'll second that motion.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.